HLN tomorrow night. Dr. Drew talks with a documentary filmmaker who spent a month inside Neverland Ranch. Dr. Drew, HLN tomorrow night, 9 Eastern.
Well, I was on the Dr. Drew show last week. Here's the Dr. Drew clip.
Welcome back. I'm Ryan Smith, sitting in for Dr. Drew this evening. You know, almost majestic, right? Those Los Angeles mountains. And then in the foreground, you see it. The courthouse, the Los Angeles County Criminal Courthouse, where Dr. Conrad Murray is facing trial in the death of Michael Jackson. A lot of emotional stuff going on in the courtroom. So with us tonight to discuss the trial coverage, Damon Elliott. He's a record producer. He grew up with Michael Jackson. He's a longtime friend of the Jackson family. And Larry Nimmer, who met Michael a few times after he was hired as a filmmaker by the Jackson defense team to shoot exclusive footage of Neverland for Michael's 2005 molestation trial. Now, before I get to my guess, I have to show you this, folks. Let's take a look at some of Larry's footage.
My name is Larry Nimmer. I'm the guy on the left having lunch in Michael Jackson's kitchen. I was part of the Jackson defense team in my capacity as a documentary filmmaker and legal video specialist. I spent many days videotaping inside Michael Jackson's Neverland estate, and I spent 2 days on the witness stand, presenting and narrating my original video footage for the jury.
So, Larry, we look at this tape, and we want to take our viewers through this because it's amazing to see Neverland like that. You rarely see Neverland close up. What was the defense team trying to prove with this footage?
Well, the defense team wanted to show what Neverland's like to a typical viewer. They wanted the jurors to come out and visit Neverland. The judge said no, but you may prepare a video about Neverland. And all they had seen up to then was the sheriff's raid footage of Neverland. So the defense team wanted to show that Neverland was really created as a wholesome place. Michael really was childlike, and it really was innocent things going on there.
So tell me what you thought before you went into Neverland and then what you thought afterwards.
Well, when I was hired to do the footage, I wasn't a big fan. I had always found Michael Jackson interesting. I thought maybe he's a little eccentric. I liked his music videos. As regards whether he was a pedophile or not, I didn't really know. I did know that there was a $20 million settlement supposedly in '93, so I thought maybe where there's smoke, there's fire. But I didn't really have an opinion one way or the other. Afterwards, I came away with a different opinion.
Well, what was that opinion, though? You look at this, it's amazing to see it. It's almost a full amusement park in the background. It's in the backyard. It's just unbelievable.
Well, I came away with the opinion that Michael really was innocent. He was really childlike. He was sincere. I came away with the opinion that the media had mischaracterized Michael, that he'd been bullied by them and the American public and made fun of, and that he really was an incredible artist that was very sincere.
Damon, you knew Michael well. Do you feel like Michael was bullied by the media?
Absolutely.
Why?
No question. Well, the media has a way of taking people and portraying them the way the media wants to portray them. Michael was a very private person, as is the whole Jackson family. And when you try to protect your privacy, people tend to try to pry more. Right.
Well, I feel like Michael was incredibly talented, but he wasn't always the best judge of character, perhaps. And so he didn't judge Gavin Arvizo well enough, who turned on him and accused him of molestation. He didn't judge the American public. He didn't judge the media properly.
Well, he didn't judge anyone. Michael was.
Good point.
He wasn't. That wasn't him.
Yeah.
Michael was such, and as is the family, just so much love and real love. And a lot of times people have a problem with that.
I've received messages, notes from people who have said, yeah, but there were drugs in Michael Jackson's room. Yeah, but he engaged this doctor. Yeah, but maybe he was involved in some sort of drug interaction. Is there responsibility for him?
Well, my opinion is, after studying Michael and doing my documentary, Michael Jackson, The Untold Story of Neverland, that you just hard to say that he didn't judge the doctor well ahead of time. He was under so much stress by all the criticisms, the lawsuit, everybody making fun of him, that he was in a physical mess, and it's kind of understandable.
But then the children in this case, there was so much in the testimony today, Larry, about Paris screaming daddy as she saw her father in that room. Murray running downstairs calling for Prince to come in that room. Afterwards, they all get together with Kai Chase, they hug, they're praying for their father. The children in this case, how do you think all of this is affecting them?
Well, they seem pretty strong, actually, in their recent public appearances and all. I'm really touched by the fact that the kids are making some public appearances. The fans and others in the public are learning so much more about Michael by seeing the kids. And so I think it's good that the kids are coming forward some. It must be really hard on their kids. Katherine Jackson, the mom, seems like she's doing a fabulous job raising them and not putting a total, giving them a little bit of liberty, but still being a mother to them.
And Damon, I'll give you the last word. How do you think the family is getting through all of this?
They're just staying very close together as a family, and they're protecting the kids.
Damon, Larry, thank you so much.
Thank
also,
you.
my thanks to Dr. Drew for letting me co-host tonight. He'll be back tomorrow for the hour. Joy Behar's coming up next. Have a great night.
When I got home to Carpinteria, my wife Melissa and my son Steve were having a conversation. It's just like Dad. He can just go down to LA and get on the Dr. Drew show. And it's not really that easy, but the way it happens, particularly I worked in TV news in the 80s, I guess it was, at KPIX TV in San Francisco, and I know kind of how it works. And so I know if you go to a media scene and kind of schmooze with the people that are hanging out, they're producers looking for story angles and so forth, and you can introduce yourself. I happened to be in front of the courthouse, and there's this reporter, Bill Hinkle, I believe his name is, with Dr. Drew, actually a producer, line producer, segment producer, and he was talking to Gregory's son, who's a longtime MJ fan and hung outside Carrollwood, and diehard Michael, and good guy. And Gregory said to the producer, Bill, hey, you should interview Larry. He's the man, or something like that. So that was very sweet. And so I talked to them briefly, and then I told him about my documentary, and then I went and got him a copy and just dropped it off. And then got a call from him later that day or the next day, wanting me on the show. And I've talked to the other main producer in Atlanta, and I gave her some other story ideas that they could feature, and she liked a bunch of them, and that might be another way that either I can get back on the show or I can help guide what type of news coverage there is and be a part of it. I could even possibly do some freelance producing of segments for them if it worked out. But I really like what I'm doing, which is I have the life of Riley, kind of. I'm a freelance producer. I make a decent living. I didn't used to back in the day, but now I am. And then my mom just passed away, my dear mom, and I inherited some money, actually, to give me a cushion. So I have it great, and so I did look to see if there was a media outlet that wanted my reports, although I didn't really want the pressure of having to shoot and edit together a very highly polished report every day. What I'm doing is just getting random footage and not spending that much time editing, because it takes a while to upload it and convert it in high def and all that stuff. So I'm just kind of doing it relaxed. I saw the first couple segments seemed to have gotten 1,000 or more hits. And the last few have gotten around 200 or 300. That's just in the first day or two. They don't seem to be quite as popular, and I understand. It's not like a highly jazzed media segment like you'd see on HLN or CNN or one of those stations, TMZ. But my thing is my thing, and a nice thing about YouTube is just archiving it. So it's always, you can always go back and review it. And actually it'd be nice when people watched it if in comments they said the names of people and so forth, so you could see who was on individual segments. Anyway, went down to the Dr. Drew show. They took over the Times Mirror building, part of it, in downtown LA, just across the street from the courthouse, so they could have the courthouse in the background. And this is their temporary studio during the trial. Apparently they have another studio in Hollywood. But anyway, so for a number of the interviews, they have the court building behind you, and also I believe it's part of City Hall shows too. Dr. Drew was off that day, and Ryan Smith interviewed me. He was very smooth, very personable, and it was fun. I knew it wouldn't get too into depth, because those things never do. You're usually frustrated. You can't say a lot of what you wanted to say, which was kind of the case with me. But I did get in a few points I wanted to mention, and I even had one moment where my mind went blank while I was talking. I didn't even know what I was talking about. It's the first time that's ever happened to me out of nervousness. But I knew it only last a moment, so I just said a couple random words, and then I caught up to the thought I was on. Can you spot it?
Have you seen my childhood?
My name is Larry Nimmer. I'm the guy on the left having lunch in Michael Jackson's kitchen. I was part of the Jackson defense team in my capacity as a documentary filmmaker and legal video specialist. I spent many days videotaping inside Michael Jackson's Neverland estate, and I spent 2 days on the witness stand, presenting and narrating my original video footage for the jury, footage that will be seen outside the courtroom for the first time in this documentary. For the first time, you'll see the sheriffs meeting the accuser.
What he has done to you, okay? He's the bad person, not you.
And you'll hear Jackson's accuser telling a story of molestation.
He grabbed me. He grabbed you? Where did he grab you at?
Private area.
He grabbed you in your private area?
Sheriff's Department.
You'll see an army of sheriffs raiding Jackson's personal living quarters at Neverland Ranch. You'll meet the mother of the accuser.
Where were they when I had to walk about 3 hours to get to the doctors for my children? And now, all of a sudden, they're caring and concerned because Michael Jackson.
You'll view outtakes from the Martin Bashir documentary.
I would never do it. I would slit my wrist before I would hurt you.
You'll see an exclusive interview with Jackson attorney Tom Messerow.
This was not the kind of situation that Michael Jackson belongs in. He's extremely sensitive, very gentle, very childlike.
And you'll meet jury foreman Paul Rodriguez.
We felt that Michael was still a kid in a man's body.
Michael's defense team hired me to create a Neverland tour video to counter the unsavory impression created by footage shot by the Santa Barbara County Sheriffs, who deployed over 70 officers for a surprise raid of Neverland Ranch.